I would say definitely lean on your franchisor. I can't thank my franchisor, Chris, enough. He's been an absolute saviour, and I can call him anytime, every day, about any question, doesn't matter. He answers the call and reassures me when I'm freaking out. We celebrate together, everything's good, and just copy what they do. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Jim's has done, like Jim Penman and his team have built the system already. Just copy what they do and you'll be fine.
So, Kristina, thank you very much for joining us today. And Jim does a 30-day email to all new franchisees, and you responded really positively. I think you said you had 22 leads in your first month, and you're really happy, which is fantastic to hear so early in the Jim's cleaning franchise. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about what were you doing prior to Jim's, and maybe how's the first month been?
Well, prior to Jim's, I was in the shift work, heavy industry. I was a control room operator. So big, long days, day-night shifts, things like that, and it doesn't really work when you're single parent, so decided to just jump into Jim's and see how we go.
And how'd you go up the train? How'd you go off the training?
Oh, the training was great. I really liked it. Everyone was really positive. Everyone's really happy. I know they've got to cover kind of a broad thing, but we've got our franchisors to give us the really detailed kind of stuff. But food was good, accommodation was good, the training was really good. I liked all the instructors as well.
I was going to say as well, so let's talk about your first 30 days. So it's a great time to check in. And you said in Jim's email you had 22 leads already, and you're making more than the paperwork guarantee. So do you want to just outline about what have you done from day one to not require to use that in your business?
Well, I haven't done a lot, honestly. The leads have been coming in, and I get at least one a day. It's pretty crazy. I've had 3 today alone. I'm in an interesting position where I'm the only, other than my franchisor, of course, I'm the only franchisee in this town. Like, a lot of people also work in the industry here, so they've got big, long hours and very time poor. So the cleaning is in high demand. So I've had quite a few referrals. I've had a lot, and I've been able to convert a lot of my leads just by doing what my franchisor tells me to do.
Can I outline that then for people? What are you doing, what your franchisor is telling you? Who is your franchisor and which area are you in?
Chris Chow, we're in CQ. So he's new franchisor, and I'm his first franchisee. Like, he basically told me to do what the gym's training told us to do. Just be transparent, be honest, be relatable, like build a bit of a relationship. So every single quote that comes through, I kind of push the fact I need to come to the house and say hello. I'm making sure that I call within the 10 minutes, and I'm making sure that I'm booking the quote that day, or at least the next day if I can't get there that day. So I'm trying to get there before anyone else does, really.
Can you just talk a little bit about then how do you deal with that? Maybe can you just give me a price on the phone? What sort of wording, or how do you do that with people?
Oh, if they're asking for prices?
Yeah, let's say if they want to put a quote request through and they're asking you, just give me a price over the phone. How do you sort of deal with that in regards to getting there to visit them?
I don't.
Okay.
I just don't. I do tell them, like, every job is different.
Yeah.
I can't really give you an accurate price. I don't want to overcharge you or something like that if the work is going to be less than what it potentially could be. So they're usually, when they hear those kinds of things, they're usually pretty happy for me to come around.
That's a good example about what you just said about I don't want to charge you more than what it should be. I think that's a really good angle, a good wording to say that, rather than saying I don't want to charge you less than what it should be. You say I'd rather save you money by seeing actually how much cleaning you need, which is a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And how do you sell your services then? Like, when you go there and you do the quote, how do you then convert it? Is it because you're there first, or how are you then closing the deal?
I think a lot of the time we build a bit of rapport. Like, from the feedback I'm getting from the clients, they believe I'm pretty easy to deal with. I'm friendly, positive, and I think definitely getting there first is very helpful, because they just, especially with pretty much all of my clients have been vacate cleans. They're moving out, so they kind of just want to get it done and out of the way.
Yeah, and get their bond back as well. So obviously a good job being done by you.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you want to just talk real quickly? Do you want to outline what does building rapport mean to you? So obviously you're not going in for the hard stuff from the start. Like, are you asking a couple of questions about some things you see, or what are you doing to maybe build rapport? You said friendly smile, in uniform. What else is there? that you may be doing?
Well, I might just get a bit, like, not too personal with them. I might ask, like, where they're moving to, like, or if I spot something, I might compliment them on something that I see. I might, if they've got little kids running around or something, I might say hello to the kids and, you know, be a bit friendly with them. If I see something that we've got in common, like, I don't know, like a pet or a painting or something, or if they're into plants like I am, we might have a little bit of a chat about that. It's just getting a bit of a relationship building, which helps, because even if they don't decide to take my quote, at least they've been left with a positive experience regardless.
Point, and it's something that definitely goes a long way, especially with cleaning, because they're letting you into, you know, you're going into their home. I think having that extra trust or rapport at the start can really help.
Yeah, and some of them are quite personal, like with especially with NDIS clients, I've got to be a bit more sensitive to their needs and things like that. So,
how are you enjoying the change then from what you're doing previously to what you're doing now?
Oh, it's good. Like the control room work was fun and everything, but it was very, very lazy. And honestly, I've been sitting in a chair for a long time. So now I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so unfit. But I'm like, oh, I'm getting better and better. But
that's very natural from those sort of jobs for us. Very natural. Some of the mowing guys like have full body cramps and stuff like that. I remember them telling me.
Yeah, I'm having to do a lot of stretching after work. That's for sure. So
yeah, how the change from sitting down all day, obviously up and about, be more movement. How do you feel overall doing that? And maybe working for yourself, how's that change been?
It's better. Like, I've wanted to work for myself for a very long time, but, you know, I've been a bit too scared to do it, or it's just not been the right time. So having control of it's better. And the whole idea was to do it for my daughter. She's growing and she needs her mum, and the shift work just does not really allow for that when you're shared custody. But definitely moving is much better. It's been better for my health and stuff. It's, you know, a bit stressed out, but that's normal at the start. But it's no more stress than any other job, really.
And as I say, during your service as well, is there something that you're doing to maybe get those 5 stars or referrals? Is there maybe something that you might think is quite common, but you're doing, like, are you sending messages after it, or what is there maybe some extra things you're doing during the service or after to make it 5-star?
I think the relationship building at the start is really helpful. Like, one of my 5-star reviews, she wrote the biggest, longest thing, and it nearly made me cry. It was so beautiful. And I feel like going above and beyond a little bit is definitely beneficial, and trying to be as flexible as I can without compromising other clients, of course. So if I can get into the house earlier, I'm communicating really clearly. If I can get in there earlier, or if I'm going to be late, I make sure I let them know. Yeah, and just especially with the cleans, I make sure just a couple of little extra detailing is always helpful.
You just say on that, just to be really specific for some, let's say, people listening or fellow franchisees. When you say go above and beyond, like you mentioned, obviously the communication, you're going to be late or before you come, which is great. But is there anything, what's during that clean? Is it just like things you notice that aren't in maybe the quote that you go and do, or what do you mean by that, going above and beyond?
Yeah, like for instance, I have an NDIS client, and she has been burnt a lot by that system, people overcharging heavily. Yep. So I told her that I reassured her a lot to make sure that, you know, even if I'm only here for an hour, I'll make sure you're only charged for 1 hour, rather than making it a compulsory 2 hours or something silly. When I'm there, like, I also told her, like, okay, but she's got a disabled son, I just said, within the scope of the 2 hours, if I'm there for 2 hours, if you need something specific done, let me know, please, and I'll make sure that we focus on that. If she absolutely needs a bed to be changed because they've got injuries as well, I've asked her just to make sure that it's stripped, and I can just chuck that in there and make sure that it's made, because beds can be hard. Just doing the most that I can in the time frame that's given, and keeping to the 2 hours maximum for her is really important, rather than just taking advantage and taking your time and sticking to the basics.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, listening to what they actually want, and you've been told that information about their previous bad experiences, and this is why, and then you've corrected that for them, so they make sure that they're getting the value, and that's really, really important. What does the customer actually want, and can you tailor your service to suit that, which is really good stuff that you've done there. Now, being in business for the first 30 days, what's been the hardest thing maybe? What's been maybe harder than you thought, or what have you found maybe being a bit difficult?
Probably the hardest thing at the moment, because majority of my work that I've been getting are vacates. So I'm finding the hardest thing is being by myself at the moment.
Yeah.
So I am looking to take on an employee very, very soon to help with that. I think that's the biggest thing, and just keeping organized. Like now I've got to think about money. I've got to think about invoicing and communicating. I've got to think about how the heck do I pay myself properly in taxes and all this, all this stuff, and now payroll and work. I've got so many extra things to think about. So keeping organized, and honestly, probably keeping up with my house now that I work. I'm out there working and chasing on the grind. So I'm like, oh no.
That's the way it is. Some of the mowing franchisees interview down here, and they say the same thing. You know, their gardening doesn't look the best, till they get home, like they can't be knackered looking after it.
Yeah, when I get some employees, I might have to put my house on the roster.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, Jim's bookkeeping as well. If you need any help, reach out to them. They're really good with this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I actually have Jim's bookkeeping. I've got Tristan. He's brilliant. He's really helpful.
Good. No, it's good to hear. And they're really good for people when they're starting. But maybe let's reverse it now. What's been the easiest thing for you starting a business? Has it been the fact that it's not as scary as you thought, or maybe what's been maybe the easiest part for you?
The easiest thing, gosh, probably getting the work, honestly, for me is the easiest thing, because the leads are in abundance here. I've got a lot of previous customer service experience, so I find that helps. You know, you're just talking to people. You're just talking to people. You're offering a service. They either want it or they don't. I find that's probably the easiest thing, just talking to people, and the leads coming in are really helpful.
Has it been as scary as what you thought? Because you said a good point before. A lot of people want to do work for themselves for a very long time, and they just don't do it for a number of reasons. Maybe someone talks them out of it, or they're scared about the money or that sort of thing. So has it been as scary as you thought once you made the jump? Or was it maybe even the hardest part doing the training maybe first? That might have been the scariest bit. Yeah,
the training wasn't scary. And I don't know, this time it doesn't feel as scary as I thought. It felt a bit nerve-wracking when I first quit my job.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, wow, I've just taken on all this debt to get to buy, a bit of freedom, and now I'm losing. I was on a very, very good wage before.
Yeah.
So I think that was the scariest part. But I don't know, I'm a God-fearing woman, so I've got faith. It's okay.
That's good. I was going to say.
Okay.
You'd have to say how much money you're making, but I was going to say, you're happy with the income already. Let's say in your first 30 days, has it been at a level where you're happy with, or what has that been?
It is at the moment. It is definitely less than what I was getting before.
Yeah.
But I was expecting it. These are all things that are expected in at least your first year of business. So, and I feel like as I'm able to grow with employees, I'll be able to take more on, and we'll be able to get the system in place, our foundation's solid. It'll just grow from there. And I do have plans, I've got plans to have a team, and I do want to have multiple vehicles on the road, but obviously we just have to get over the first building stages.
Yeah, only 30 days in, so, to report.
Yeah, exactly. So
already happy and stuff, which is fantastic. And it's, a really great story to hear. And I was going to say, maybe what's your advice then? We have talked about it, and you've shared what you've done, which is fantastic. But maybe we can condense it a little bit. Let's say for new starters, or maybe for someone else watching this in Jim's cleaning, because what would you say to them is the most important things to concentrate on? Maybe in their first week or two, what would you say to them to concentrate on the most?
I would say definitely lean on your franchisor. I can't thank my franchisor, Chris, enough. He's been an absolute saviour, and I can call him anytime, every day, about any question. Doesn't matter. He answers the call and reassures me when I'm freaking out. We celebrate together. Everything's good. Lean on your franchisor as much as you can. They've got a lot of experience, and just copy what they do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Jim's has done, Jim Penman and his team have built the system already. Just copy what they do and you'll be fine.
I see we couldn't say better ourselves. People want to reinvent the wheel sometimes, but it's really there. It's the system to stick with, and just make sure you do all the things that you're doing, and you'll be a success.
Yeah.
Well, Kristina, thank you very much for your time tonight. Jim always forwards me emails and stuff, and he was very impressed with the cleaning, especially, which can sometimes take a little bit longer to get going. You're off pay for work guarantee and doing well and happy. We just interview you to try and learn what you've done, but it's just reiterated to follow the system and have a great attitude and really good customer service, and Seems to work out if you do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Kristina. Thank you for listening to the episode of the Gyms podcast. If you want to learn more about the Gyms Group, head to gyms.net or call us on 131 546 Australia or 0800 454 654 New Zealand. And if you did like the episode as well, please make sure you leave a review or a comment or a thumbs up or a comment on the video as well. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.